This is Angie Brinker, Angie Farrago Brinker. I was born in Wellington, the fourth daughter of 12 children. My mother and father were from Sicily, and Dad worked for the railroad, so we settled in Wellington. And we lived at 258 North Main Street, and the house is still in the family. The 12 of us all went to Wellington High School and graduated from there. Quite a few of our children have graduated from Wellington High. And as of last year, there are 92 members of our family that have graduated from Wellington High. When I was 16 years old, I met Leola Ziegler, who had the Wellington Service Bureau here in Wellington. And I got a part-time job working in her office. Carolyn Pointer also worked in her office. And when I was working for Leola, she asked me if I would be interested in working part-time at the Lonet Theatre, of which she was the manager of. And I said, sure. So, since I was 16, I could only work inside. So I worked the refreshment stand. We sold potato chips, candy, and we had a popcorn machine, and I got to make popcorn at the theater. And then when I was 18, I was able to sell tickets at the in the ticket booth, because you had to be 18 to sell. So we had quite a nice time working together. We got along very well, and we enjoyed ourselves very much. I enjoyed most of the movies, and I am quite a movie buff even now, but my most favorite movie, and probably quite a few of the people, was Gone with the Wind. I adored Clark Gable, and we showed it quite a few times. My favorite movie actor was Burt Lancaster. I just adored his movies and that. We had all sorts of different movies that we watched in that. The kids enjoyed the comics and the cowboy shows. We had them, Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, and we really used to have quite a crowd of children here, and they were all pretty good. The price of the cost of coming to see the kids were a lot cheaper. I believe that it was around 5 or 6 cents for the kids under 12, and anyone over 12, it was probably 50 cents to get in. The price of the candy bars was like 10 cents for a candy bar, and the popcorn was 15 or 25 cents. I enjoyed waiting on all the kids, and they were pretty good as far as we didn't have any trouble with the students. Originally, as I mentioned, we were open every night. Eventually, I would say probably in 1953, the owner of the theater decided to only open on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we were only open the 4 days. And as we progressed into that, I have one little incident that happened when I was a senior in high school. In the month of February, well, there were a group of us girls that were pretty close, and we did a lot of things together as seniors. And there was a basketball game that was to be played on a Tuesday night. And this was when we were open every night of the week. And these girls were going to go to the basketball game. And we had one of our classmates that was going to drive a truck. So I decided I wanted to work instead of going to the basketball game. So now, at that time, Route 18 was not like it is today. It was curvy, and it was a bad section to drive in. So those girls went to the basketball game, and I went to work. So the next morning, I went to school, and I found out that the girls had had an accident on their way home from New London, and one of our classmates was killed, and that was Lois Sturl. And the Sturl family is well known here in Wellington, and Lois was killed. And I thank my stars that I had this job at the Lonet Theatre, because I would have been with them. So that is one little thing that, that I will never forget. But we have had many, many happy memories of our days at school. But getting back to the Lonet Theatre, in that month of July or August, when Carolyn and I went to Montgilead, where our owner of the the owner of the theater lived in Montgilead, and Carolyn and I went to his house to take care of his children while they went on vacation. And once again, we got a phone call that there had been this rainstorm and that our roof had caved in. And we came back home, and Carolyn and I went in the building to see what it looked like. And sure enough, the ceiling had caved in, and it had fallen about 12 or 15 rows of the seats. And from that time on, that was the end of the Lonet Theatre, because they never fixed it. But they did tear down the back part of the building, and eventually someone else bought the property, and that was the end of the Lonet Theatre. Well, when I was in school, I played basketball, believe it or not. And back in those days, you had 6 players on a team, and 3 were guards and 3 were forwards. And I was one of the forwards, so I played, we played on half the court. So I was only, we would shoot at one of the baskets, and only the forwards could shoot. And the guards would guard the opposite team. So they played on the other half. But you could only shoot on half of the court of where the forwards were. And I was in GAA, and I won my varsity W on the team. So that was quite interesting. And the GAA is the Girls Athletic Association. And I was president of GAA when I was a senior. I also was in FHA, which is the Future Homemakers of America. And I was president of that club too. And we went to conventions down in Columbus. And our teacher was Mrs. Lonette, and I was also on National Honor Society, of which I must mention that one of my daughters, when she graduated, was on National Honor Society, and her daughter was on National Honor Society. One day, my oldest son was going through some of my boxes and checking different things that I had in them, and he came up with this W, the varsity letter. And he said, "Mom, what is this varsity letter doing in here?" And I said, "That is my varsity letter." I said, "When I was a senior," I said, "I was awarded the varsity letter in basketball. You were," he said to me, "You played basketball?" I said, "Yes, I played basketball." We also, as a senior, I forgot to mention that our coach decided that we should play field hockey. And so the school let them order the field hockey sticks and so forth. And we played field hockey on the, there at the middle school, the recess field. That was our hockey field. And I understand, we got those when I was a senior, and I believe they only played it one more year, and then the sticks got broken and one thing and another, and they decided not to do it anymore. I also played on a baseball team when, after I graduated, we had a women's baseball team. So I was pretty well versed in sports.